This is Movies in Contemplation with Jarokk and...
Oh, am I talking to you?
Jesus, yeah. Okay, hello, welcome back.
Hello, gorgeous.
Alright. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? Hope we're all well.
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, Callie. Good. You're lovely.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Okay, so we're doing Scent of a Woman this week.
Yes, another heavy hitter.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's a pretty heavy hitter. 1992, Al Pacino and Chris O'Donnell. Directed by Martin Brest. I really like this movie, but we'll get to that. Let's talk real quick about the wine that we chose.
Yes.
So, for this, we chose the Beringer.
A Cabernet this time, yes.
Beringer.
California's finest.
California's finest.
I think. I don't know.
I don't know. It's alright.
It's okay.
Yeah, I thought a Baird man deserved a Beringer.
I love you, bear.
Yeah, but... But this, the label is gorgeous. It suits the film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, moving on.
Why do you like Scent of a Woman?
You know, I like this movie a lot. My dad was big into watching this film, and he would quote the hell out of it all the time when I was growing up. This was one of like 4 films that he would watch other than the news, and I would always enjoy watching them with him. I never really understood this movie as a child when I was watching it. I really like kind of Charlie, Chris O'Donnell's character. I really kind of, me and him had kind of a similar like... You know, I always related to Charlie in a lot of ways, just like, you know, in school and
Interesting.
Everything else. Just a very relatable character as a, you know, younger man in high school and trying to go into college. And
I could see that. You're very honorable.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But... yeah, that's how he is. But my dad would quote this movie, and I swear that he would get people's names wrong a lot of times because Al Pacino does that in this movie. He'll call people by the wrong names all the time. He'll just be like, yeah, well, it's not important for me to get it right.
Your dad would call me Lady.
Yeah, well, he called you lady.
Time.
He called other exes of mine by wrong names and would piss them off. You're probably the only one that actually thought it was funny.
It was a cute name. I mean,
yeah.
He could have called me something really, stupid.
Right. I mean, I just, but that's neither here nor there. So let's jump in.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive into the film here. If you hear a gypsy howling in the background, we apologize.
Hey, I don't know what she's barking at.
Apparently somebody's outside. So the movie starts up, and so we start off looking at the Baird School for Boys. So that's where Chris O'Donnell is attending, trying to get into college. I guess he got a scholarship into Baird or something or another.
Yeah, he doesn't have money like most of the students.
Most of those guys who go to that school
Preppy rich boys.
Preppy rich boys indeed. You know, fathers are millionaires, and he's legitimately on scholarship only to get into that shit. From Oregon. Oregon out of the boy. So he's from Oregon, poor suburb child, and he is surfing through jobs for the weekends because he can't afford to go home. He can't afford a plane ticket.
It's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah. So like most, I always stayed at college, you know, when we had Thanksgiving break.
That's a hard trip because it's the weekend. Usually if you're in college or school away from home, generally like waiting until Christmas to come home.
Yeah, there were a lot of us that stayed that would just go out and do Thanksgiving or have potlucks out on campus because none of us went home. So yeah, he just stays and looks for a job and finds like a babysitting kind of chauffeur type job, aide, if you will, for a blind man. And his niece, Al Pacino, is obviously the blind man. His niece puts up an ad for somebody to come work with him because she's going out of town and the colonel, Al Pacino, refuses to go with his niece. So she hires Charlie because nobody else showed up for the job. And she's like, oh, well, you got it, Charlie, you're in. And he's like, well, I don't think this is gonna work because it was a pretty bad interview, you know, him and the colonel. The colonel's very high maintenance, very
abrasive.
Yeah, and just hard as a rock. So he Charlie gets the job and then goes back to school and he's working at the library. And what's his nuts?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman
A
goes
young Philip Seymour
Very
Hoffman.
young Seymour Hoffman goes to the library and is trying to get Charlie to give him a book because he needs to pull an all-nighter or some shit. So they allow that, and then they see three guys fiddling with a lamppost because right above the dean's parking spot, and the dean has like a fresh Jaguar, right?
Oh, yeah.
That he got from the Board of Trustees. So they're fiddling with it, and a teacher comes by and sees Hoffman and O'Donnell
just like witnessing.
Yeah, she saw that they saw who it was. So the next day, Dean comes to school, parks under it, and then the balloon that they hooked up a balloon to the light post starts inflating. You see a picture of the dean kissing the ass of a trustee, and then the dean, like an idiot, pops the fucking balloon, and then paint falls all over his brand new Jag.
How dumb. Like, well, the thing looked heavy. Like, you would think there has to be something in the damn balloon. I know it gets the movie going, but still, it's kind of...
Well, he wasn't the brightest bulb. I mean, honestly, a lot of people in those positions, let's be fucking realistic here, people. A lot of people in those positions are probably some of the dumbest people you'll ever fucking meet because they have book smarts and not common sense.
True.
That is the fucking truth. An A+ does not make you smart, ladies and gentlemen.
Intelligence, of which you have none.
An A+ does not make you smart. So, moving on. He calls in Mr. Sims and Mr. whatever the fuck Hoffman and tries to strike a deal with O'Donnell because he can't strike a deal with Hoffman because he's made of money. He's pretty much untouchable. But he sits there and is all like, I'll get you into Harvard.
Yeah, he baits him.
Yeah, he's really fucking
baits him and bribes him.
Yep. He's like, I'll get you into Harvard. All you got to do is tell me who did it. So O'Donnell, being, a non-snitch, is like, well, no, I can't tell you who it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what? You think about it over the weekend. So he goes to his weekend job. And for me, this is where the movie kind of gets going.
It is a slow start.
Yeah, as soon as we get with Pacino and O'Donnell is... Honestly, when I watch this movie on my own, that's where I start the film. I start the film pretty much right there when they're about to go on their little adventure to New York. He goes to the house. The niece is showing, like, so much love for Al Pacino, and you find out that pretty much his entire family, Al Pacino's family, pretty much hates him.
Yeah.
And his niece is the only one who takes care of him. She chose to take him in, and just, her and her husband are obviously really nice people. Her kids are kind of brats, as you see, but her and her husband are, like, genuinely nice, especially if they put up with him. So they leave, and then Pacino is all like, all right, get your stuff, we're leaving. Pack my blues, Charlie. All that shit. And then they head off to the airport, and they're flying, and he guesses the name of the stewardess.
Yeah.
All based off of her perfume and her Californian dialect. He's like, it's an English perfume, and a California chickie. Her name's gotta be Daphne.
Hooah!
Hooah!
Oh my God. If you take a shot every time Al Pacino says hooah.
Oh God. And what's really funny to that is he got that from the colonel who taught him how to clean a gun, to take a gun apart and clean it. Because every time he was saying that every time he would take the gun apart from the guy that was teaching him how to do it, because he had to learn how to do it blindfolded because he's blind. So we'll get to some fun facts real quick. So with him doing that, the colonel, every time Al Pacino would finish, he would say, hooah. And Al Pacino was like, my God, I kind of like that. I'm going to find a place to put that in the movie, which he pretty much put that in every fucking thing he did. Like, hooah!
Every scene, yeah.
Yeah. And Pacino... And why, like, in movies, you see most people have those, like, gray blind eyes or, like, the white eyes. Pacino didn't want to wear any contacts. So
really?
He was like, I'm not comfortable with things being on my eyes. He was like, it's uncomfortable for me. So what I did was he jokingly says that his daughter taught him how to be blind, but he went off and he spent time around actual blind people and kind of studied them and saw how they did. Because in my opinion, holy shit, he didn't need those contacts. He blew it out of the park.
Absolutely.
With how he played blind. Like, I don't think anybody, even with those fucking contacts that block your sight, could ever pull the performance that he did. Yeah. And that's unbelievable. So we've got that out of the way. So let's move on to, so they're on the plane and they're doing that, and then he starts talking about how he is a womanizer. Obviously, he's a womanizer in the film. But he's got just this love and devotion for women. Like, most womanizers are just complete assholes.
Oh, yeah. They see women as objects.
Right. And he sees them as these fucking God's gift. Like goddesses, man. Like, he even says it. He's like, oh, my God must have been a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like, for making women, like... And then he starts getting into the really sentimental points with hair that you can bury your nose into. Yeah. Lips that when they touch yours are like your first sip of wine out of the desert. Mm-hmm. And then he gets into the tits.
Tits!
Legs, ass.
I don't care if they're Greek columns or secondhand Steinways.
What's between passport to heaven? But, yeah, he starts talking like that. And it's so beautiful. And then he goes right back to being like your typical womanizer guy.
Yeah.
So funny. And they get to New York, and Charlie's all like, Colonel, I can't do this. Like, I gotta go. Like, we can't do this shit. And Pacino's just like, Charlie, you're gonna stay, son. I need you to do, all that shit. And he's talking to the Puerto Rican guy.
Oh, the bellhop?
Bellhop. Yeah. And he's all like, any escort information will be forthcoming. The bellhop's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, sir, I don't fucking... I don't call. We don't have them on, like, the phone book.
Speed dial.
Right. It's like we don't have a list. Like, he's just like, all right, well, whatever. So then he makes calls, and they go to the Oak Room for dinner.
Yes.
Well,
they're also staying at the Waldorf Astoria.
Astoria, yeah.
They fly first class, so, like, it's so far a very expensive trip.
Very expensive trip, and he doesn't, I guess he does have money saved up, but he's not rich. Mm. The Colonel is not rich at all.
Well, even Chris O'Donnell, Charlie, he even questioned, like, how are you affording all this?
Yeah, you're a rich miser. He's just like, it's all part of a plan, son. All part of a plan. And he tells him his plan. He says, my plan is to stay at the Waldorf, to have a nice dinner at the Oak Room, go see my brother in New York, there's nothing like family, and make love to a beautiful woman. And then he's going to go back to the Waldorf, lay on his big, fat, beautiful bed, and he's going to blow his brains out. So his whole plan was to splurge for a weekend, act like one of those rich generals that he used to serve under, and then he was going to kill himself. Yeah. Because he pretty much had it with life.
Yeah, and you really start to see that after you learn why this plan is going down. And Chris O'Donnell, he really just...
flabbergasted.
Oh my God,
blown away. He's just like, am I really with this guy that's telling me that he wants to kill himself? Like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, he's pretty much in my charge. And I can only imagine being in that situation.
No.
Like, my God. When I get personal with some people and they start talking to me and shit like that, I'm just like, oh my God. But at the same time, it's like, what can I do to help? Because, nobody should think like that. And so they do all that, and Charlie starts trying to talk to Pacino and is all like, did I hear you right? You're going to kill yourself? He goes, no, I'm going to blow my brains out.
Yeah.
And then the Colonel keeps trying to, like,
lighten
sway the... He kind of
lighten up the situation, but he just tries to
derail.
Like, come on,
change the subject.
Get what you want to eat.
You have a right to know what I plan on doing. So he does all that, and they go back to the hotel. And there's a lot of really amazing scenes in this film. And one thing that I really love is the music in this movie. The music sets the tone. We could be in a really hardcore situation, and the music will play that sad tune that we hear, and then right after we'll hear those woodwinds, and it lightens it up, and it's like, oh my God, ingenious.
That's stuff, I guess, like, just how the movie is. Like, it deals with such dark themes, but it's also really funny.
Yeah, it is, and Pacino makes it hilarious. Because, and then that's the type of guy that he is. He sees life as like a joke. Like, you gotta fucking have fun. Like, that's what he does. He just flirts with women on the phone. He doesn't know what they look. He flirts with every woman. Mm-hmm. Now, Hollywood, most of the women that he happens to flirt with are all attractive.
Yeah.
But he doesn't give a shit. If you're a woman, he's gonna flirt with you.
Yes.
Like, that's just how he is, the Colonel. He loves women. Doesn't matter what they look. He says it. Doesn't matter what they look like, what it is. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
So they get back to the hotel, and he's telling Charlie, you're going to sleep here, and then I want it in back to how it was in the morning as soon as we're up. Charlie gives him that salute, and then he's like, what the fuck was that? And then Charlie was like, oh, it was nothing. And then the Colonel shows him the proper salute. And one of many favorite lines in this film for me is he teaches him how to do it, and then he's like, too many men far better than you have executed that courtesy, and if you're smart you won't do it again. Don't fuck with me, Charlie. This bat's got sharper radar than the Nautilus. Like, I was like, holy shit, yes.
Yeah, like he could tell that Charlie attempted to salute him.
And that's the thing, like, and especially for people who serve, like, oh man, like if you serve the country and you do that, like, those people deserve so much. And that's one thing that I love about, like, the Colonel. Like, he's like, don't make fun of this. Yeah. Don't try to fucking do something that people literally died for.
Yeah, don't try something you don't know anything about.
Exactly. It's like, don't fucking make fun of it. Don't jest. Just fucking, you know. And that's why I love him. Just don't try it again if you're smart.
Do it right or not at all.
Yeah, I'll fuck you up. So all that, and then they wake up in the morning, and the Colonel's singing, and he's got this woman, Sophia. Sophia! And he's getting fitted for a tux. And then Charlie tries to make a call, and he calls George. He calls Philip Seymour Hoffman. And the Colonel starts kind of getting Charlie to tell him what's going on. And about the situation with the balloon.
Yeah, he can tell that he's... what did he say about this side of the car feels heavy? Like he can tell there's something...
You got the weight of the world on your shoulders, Charlie. You're quiet. I can feel the tension in the room. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Starts saying, I'm getting that heavy feeling, Charlie. You know, all that shit. So they're doing that, and then he tells the Colonel, and then the Colonel, and this is where I totally see my dad, like, especially, like, back then. He's all like, you know, what, do you know anything about Little George, Big George? And then he's like, well, I'm going to tell you. You know, Big George, millionaire, he just knows things about everybody.
Yeah.
And that was my dad, like, back in the day. Like, you know, my dad would know everything about pretty much everybody. And I'd be like, man, how the fuck do you know? Like, just things that...
Some people are just really good at reading other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just, they have this, like, extra sense of just looking at someone. I think that's why your dad was such a good car salesman. Yeah. Because he had a really good sense of, okay, this person, I'm getting a sense that they're like this, so I'm going to approach them in
this way. And that man knew how to speak to the dealers and to the people and to the customers. Like, he knew the language in both ways.
Yeah.
And that is why he was so fucking good. And that's how the Colonel is. Like, he just knows everything about everybody. He just wants to know. It's like a constant news listener or a constant, you know, whatever he does. So he tells Charlie about Big George and how he's a multi-million-dollar man and all that shit. And then they go to dinner. One of my favorite. They go to meet his brother.
Yes.
Probably one of the best scenes.
Oh my god.
Fuck, there's so many good scenes in this damn movie.
It's a good scene, but it's also so uncomfortable. Like, yeah. I wasn't there, but I felt the tension.
Right. He goes, he meets his nephew. He doesn't meet his nephew, but he sees his nephew, and his nephew hates him.
Oh my god.
And his brother doesn't really like him. The whole family just doesn't like him. And that's what's so interesting, because his niece in the beginning is there. It's his brother's daughter. Mm-hmm. And she takes him in and lives with him and deals with him and does all this. And his brother doesn't want anything to do with him. His nephews don't want anything to do with him. And that's what I find really... I find his niece fascinating in that aspect, which is sad that she's not in the film that much.
Yeah, I never really thought of that because she has such a small role that I didn't really think about her as a person. Yeah,
and you just see that she genuinely cares about him and loves him, and everybody else is like, put him aside. And the Colonel has that hilarious line of, hey, your sister's hoarded me long enough, thought I'd come and share the wealth, or whatever the fuck he says. So... they're doing that. He walks in, and of course he does that wonderful Al Pacino yell at him.
Oh, God.
What? Oh, Willie! And then, oh, God. Is that turkey, mother? All of that lovely fucking Al Pacino yelling.
Al Pacino-esque.
It's in his contract. He's got to yell. It's in his contract. So, and then they have dinner, right? They're having dinner, and he's telling this hilarious story about having a threesome.
Do you think it's a story he has told before?
Oh, I know it. Especially watching the mom. Mm-hmm. When you watch
like a lot of his
sister-in-law, his sister-in-law was like, my God. Like, but the nephews, well, the one nephew, Gary, the oldest, thought that it was funny.
Yeah.
He was kind of just like, well, but Randy couldn't stand him. Like, Randy was like, fucking, and then Randy after that starts poking at him, poking Frank,
the bear,
at the Colonel. And the Colonel's like, well, we're gonna head out. It's time to leave. Randy fucking starts poking him, and then he's like, I was gonna leave. Now I'm staying. Because he starts telling the story about how he was in the military.
Yeah.
Like how the Colonel, he was able to... He was passed down for promotion. Like, he could have been a general. He could have been a 3-star. Mm-hmm. But he was passed over. And he starts saying how at Fort Benning he had a juggling act or some shit with grenades that he would do with a guy. And Frank was drunk because they would have drinks, sea breezers and screwdrivers in the morning. And the Colonel, Frank, Al Pacino, pulls the pin from the grenade. One of the grenades fell out of his hand and it blew up, made Pacino go blind, but his partner in the act got out all right. So Randy's sitting there telling this story, and Pacino's just like remembering and just taking this all in. And Randy's like, maybe God just thinks that some people don't deserve to see.
That's interesting because if you think about it, that doesn't necessarily mean being physically blind.
Yeah, just blind to the fucking world. Mm-hmm. And Pacino's reaction to that was... You could see, like, just... He wanted to cry, I feel like. He wanted to fucking cry. But then he just did his laugh. He did the ha! Like, he covered it up. Mm-hmm. Found the humor in it. And Randy, and this is something that I kind of passed over, but Randy called Charlie Chuck. And the Colonel found out because Colonel called Charlie Chuck on the plane. And Charlie was like, do not call me Chucky. Please do not call me Chuck. Like, I don't like it. Charles or Charlie, please. I can't stand Chuck. So Pacino gives Randy this warning of...
One warning.
He was like, don't call him Chucky. Like, his name's Charles. You call him Charles. Just a warning. So Randy's all like, well, do you get the deal? Chucky, calls him Chucky a second time, and then the Colonel flies out of his fucking chair, grabs Randy by the throat and gives him a Ranger chokehold, and he's pretty much got his windpipe pinched, and just about to, he's like, it's one pinch and I collapse your windpipe, like I break your shit and you're not going to be able to speak, talk, do anything, breathe. And everybody gets up and is trying to like get the Colonel off of him.
Yeah.
And he gets off, starts to walk away. His brother goes up to him, and then he goes, goodbye, Willie. I'm no fucking good, and I never have been. That fucking hit me. I was like, fuck.
And you can tell that goodbye was like...
A real goodbye.
Like,
I'm goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, this is it.
This was it, yeah.
Like, this is the last time I'm going to see you, and unfortunately, this is how it's going to be, but...
Do you think he was hoping for something like a better situation, or did he go in it knowing it was going to be like a shit show and people were just going to...
Like most of us, probably in that kind of situation, I feel, for those of us that have these falling outs, I think that we would like to have a better... outcome. If any of us do have falling outs with our families, I think we do want to have that better situation of, getting back with them. But reality is reality, and unfortunately, that is how it most likely would if the person doesn't want anything to do with you in the beginning. I mean, some people just can't read. And Charlie tried to tell his brother. He's like, I think he's sick. Like, I think he's lonely. But he was giving these hints, and his brother was like, why don't you take him to your family for dinner?
Yeah. Oof.
Like, why'd you bring him here? Like shit like that. So I think that the Colonel kind of knew. And he says it coming up to the scene that we're going to talk about real quick. When he's going through his gun, he's cleaning his piece. And Charlie is like, you brought a gun? Like, holy shit. And then the Colonel's like, yeah, I brought, this is my sidearm. I'm a colonel I'm a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army, and this is my sidearm. You don't relinquish it to anybody. Charlie's like, well, give me the gun. Like, I don't want you having it while we're on this trip. And then Charlie's like, well, then I'm leaving. Like, bye, I'm leaving. Again, that wonderful Al Pacino, Charlie! Like, scream. And Pacino gets up and says, it's fuck you, buddy. It's cheat on your wife. Call your mother on Mother's Day. It's all shit. Pretty much that life is shit. Mm-hmm. Everybody fucks you over. You know, there is no good in life. That's how he sees it. And he's like, I can't chew the leather anymore, so why should I share the tribe's provisions? And going back, where you can really relate to Charlie as a younger man, I think anybody, like, older and have, like, just lived with it, and anybody with, like, depression can really relate to the Colonel.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is another thing that I just really admire from this film, is because it's like, you got a guy that loved life once, and then just one little thing kept, you know, all it took was those couple little things, and he just absolutely hates it and just doesn't want to live anymore. It just doesn't see the reason to want to live anymore. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants him around.
Yeah.
So he's like,
what's the point?
Why should I share the tribe's provisions? Why should I chew the leather anymore? Nobody gives a red herring about me, you know. But they do that, and then he eventually gives Charlie the bullets, and Charlie takes the bullets, and then they go for lunch, and he meets that 22-year-old girl. And
so beautiful.
She was gorgeous. Oh my god, what was her name?
What was her name?
She is Donna Gabrielle Anwar. Gorgeous in the 90s. She is just lovely. Lovely 90s actress. I haven't seen her in too much else. I think she was in the Tudors. I could be wrong.
The Tudors?
I'm pretty sure she was in the Tudors. But anywho, she was gorgeous in this film. And the Colonel and Charlie, the Colonel honestly was trying to get her with Charlie.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, well, Charlie, you know, let me show you how it does, how it goes. I'm giving you pearls here, Charlie. Let's see how we're doing.
I love that.
I'm giving you pearls, son. Another thing that my father says all the time.
Yeah.
I'm giving you pearls, son. But he goes down, and the Colonel, and he's like, I want to keep the womanizers at bay.
Yeah.
So they're doing that shit, and the Colonel says, you know, would you like to dance, Donna? I'll teach you the tango. And they do the tango, and the band plays that one song that we danced to at our wedding.
We did. We did a tango at our wedding.
We did. And for some reason, the DJ made it a fucking techno version. I
don't know. Yeah, that really ticked me off. That it was we gave him the version that we wanted, and he did something totally different. And because of course we made it work, and we did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I totally could have been a bridezilla and be like, wait, no,
you're stopping that.
But show must go on.
That's
folks.
$50 off, bitch. But, so they start to dance.
Well, I love also Al Pacino goes to Charlie and asks,
I need coordinates.
I need coordinates.
Let me know that. And Charlie, holy shit!
Yeah,
the floor is about 5 by 30, and da 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 da. And I'm like, I would have been like, you know, Colonel, it's a fucking circle. Yeah. It's a circle, man. You know, you don't have much space. I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
Yeah, sure. About Charlie wasn't in the army.
20 feet, 20 feet round.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, Charlie's just throwing out these dimensions, and I'm like, my God, man,
yeah,
the hell. So Pacino is able to stay in the circle the whole time and work with this woman. And one of the things that I never paid attention to until after rewatching it this last time, I never paid attention to the ensemble, to the background actors and actresses. And my God, like, seeing just how they were all smiles, like looking at this old man with this beautiful woman. And my thought was, do they think this is his daughter? Do they know that he's blind? Like, these people all have different facial, and I'm just like, my God, that's the time that I love to see background. Mm-hmm. And there's times in a lot of movies, like, I pay attention. I'm one of those people. I do pay attention to the background.
Yeah.
I do. And I love it. So, the tango. So they finish the tango, and then the guy that she's waiting for shows up, and he's just a tool.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so. Just a rich, pompous, you know. Oh, you finally got something to, like, Michael thinks the tango's hysterical. He doesn't want to win. Well, I think Michael's hysterical. You know, shit like that. I think he's kind of a tool. That's me.
Yeah. I'm not really disagreeing with you. Yeah. I wasn't sure because he seemed nice. He totally could have been like, you know, dude, what the hell are you doing? doing with my girl? These two men, like this young dude and then this older blind guy, just...
I mean, in my opinion, I'm going to say that that's kind of toolish because you're not going to question the fact that there's two guys that just moved in on your lonely... Like, I'd find that, especially if you told me, and then maybe, maybe him as a person was like, maybe she knows them, I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't care too much to really know.
But I'd be like, if there were people that I didn't know, and if I saw them with you, I'd probably be like, what the fuck's going on here? Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, that was then. It was the day of strangers could go up to you, have a conversation, and nobody would think anything of it. Yeah. Nowadays, God forbid, a stranger comes up to you and starts having a conversation, nobody wants to talk to him.
What do you want?
Mm-hmm. What do you want? But, so they do that, and then...
I liked that scene. I think that scene was really what got me to really start... I don't want to say, not that I wasn't enjoying the movie, but I don't know. It was... I really liked the scene. I don't know if it had something to do with the song and the...
I think it's a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
And I think that it really showed the charisma of the Colonel with a woman.
Yeah.
And how he treats women.
Yeah, and how he danced with her. It was so respectful, but it was also the tango. Mm. It's sensual, it's intimate, but he wasn't a creep about it.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people who'd probably watch this would he's a womanizer, but he's respectful. Like I said in the beginning, he admires women. He loves women.
Yeah.
So, after that, he finally gets to have a night with
an escort. He gets her from
the limo driver Manny, who I failed to bring up earlier. But Manny, their limo driver.
With us. It's like he's like us. We're along for the ride.
Yeah, and Manny is he's not necessarily a big character but he's needed. Manny was needed, So Manny gets this escort for the Colonel.
Top of the line.
He apparently made whoever from Russia want to transfer countries.
Yeah.
I don't know. But made some senator want to fucking move to the U.S. Mm-hmm. So does all that, and the Colonel has a night with her, comes back, and it's just... Oh my God.
And you don't get to see it.
No, you don't see it. You just see him come out.
You can kind of tell with Al Pacino's performance, his experience. It's almost like it wasn't needed. Because there was a part of me at first I'm kind of interested to see what actually happened.
Yeah.
Did he just lay with her? Or did they really...
Did they really have sex?
Yeah.
Did they have to do... but...
When he came back, he kind of gave all he...
It's like he was a virgin for the first time.
Yeah.
He came out and he was just blown away. Man. And I don't think he's been with a woman since he got blind.
You think?
That's my thought.
Huh.
Because, my God, man, just the way that he played that scene.
I could see that.
It's like I haven't made love in years upon years upon years. So, he has sex with her and then wakes up the next morning. And this is the first time he's not up before Charlie and he's not actually doing something. Charlie goes in the room and is like, Colonel, what's going on? He's like,
it's new.
Charlie, go home. Go, I'm done with you. This is it.
Yeah, he just looks so...
I'm going to do it.
Almost out of it, like he was drugged or something. Yeah. But it was a total shift in his... he was a different person.
Yep. Take $400 out of my wallet, go, and, leave me to do what I need to do. Mm-hmm. So Charlie's like, well, let's go for a ride, Colonel. And I failed this as well. The Colonel loves women, but his second closest thing that he loves is a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So Charlie's like, yeah, let's go for a ride. Let's go drive a Ferrari. And they go to a dealership. And that dealership took me back to my fucking...
Yeah.
Man, did it take me back to my dad. So the guy, the older, the guy trying to, what's your commission? The Colonel. The Colonel reminded me of how my dad talks to people.
Yeah.
Especially sales. Holy shit, man.
I know better than you.
Yeah, exactly. Ron Swanson like a motherfucker. I know more than you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But, the Colonel, he's all like, what's your quota? And the guy's like, you don't need to know about my quota. I do very well. If they call me the Gray Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody can move a Ferrari in and out Like, these kids don't have shit on me. I'm older, but I can still move them in and out.
Yeah, because I didn't know until knowing you that salesmen, especially, I guess, like in the car industry, it's a young man's thing.
Essentially, it is. It is pretty
Young
much
man's
a young man's game. Essentially, there's still a few old timers from my dad's end that still do it, but it's very rare.
It's people that really know their job well and they're trustworthy and people like I would like to be with someone that's been with the company a lot longer instead of some young, bright,
and that's
smiley.
the people like. And just people nowadays, I feel like, especially then, like, there's just something about going to somebody young, I think. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't get it
because
either.
I personally wouldn't go to somebody who's fucking 22 and say, yeah, sell me a car. Like, I'd rather go to somebody who's in his fucking 50s, 40s, 60s. Don't send me to somebody in their fucking 20s to try to sell me something. Like, if you're younger than me, I don't want you selling me shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, so that's kind of how that is from there. I want somebody who I know has had experience. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, with somebody like that, how do you know, especially with salesmen, and I'm sorry, car salesman, I'm going to put you on fucking blast. You fuckers want to make money, and 9 times out of 10, they will fucking try to get you to pay more.
Well, it's like anything with sales.
Exactly.
Like, I hated being in retail because it was always trying to try to push them to get an accessory or a skirt, or it's like always add more to their bill.
Yeah.
I'm not a pusher.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy it, I'm not going to fucking push you
and
to buy
there's some that are like that, and that's what's really good about it. There are some salesmen that'll be like, you know what, if that's, if you can't pay that, if this is what you got to do, then we'll try to knock it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. But there are some that will say, oh, well, I'll add this on, and I'll add that on, and that'll be this, and it's like, dude, I don't need all that shit. Mm-hmm. That stripes on the side of my car, take them the fuck off. I don't need them. What is it? Fucking extra $200 for that shit? Take them off. Like, no, we're not taking them off. Well, then drop it down a fucking $100. Okay, I can do that. It's just haggle. That's what it is. It's haggling them. Yeah. So they do that, and then the colonel is able to talk, because Charlie's 17. I failed to mention that as well. Yeah. Charlie's underage. Well, not underage, but he's 17 with a driver's license. Mm-hmm. So he can't legally take out a car for a test drive.
I didn't know that.
And he's got a blind companion. I guess you got to be 18. Okay. But even then, I don't know.
I guess
I wasn't testing. Unless you're with your parent.
Your parent or guardian, yeah.
And of course, the colonel is all like, "Well, he's my son." Like, let him. He goes, "Yeah, but you're blind." And he said it as nice as possible. But you're blind. What can you do for this child in this fucking $100,000, however much a fucking Ferrari is? Mm-hmm. And he's just like, well, and he gives him $1,000 up front. Then it's like, if I like this car, I'll give you whatever it's worth Monday morning. You'll have it on your desk if this performs the way I want. And he just silver tongues this guy. Yeah. And then they take it out, go for a drive. Colonel is not happy and has to pretty much teach Charlie. A blind man has to teach Charlie how to drive a stick.
Yeah, he can tell with the way the car sounds that it wasn't running correctly, that Charlie was doing something wrong.
And you can feel it. Like, if you know how to drive stick, like, that's just...
I've tried a couple times, never again.
It's not that difficult to do.
Everybody says that.
Yeah, but it is.
No, it is difficult.
So listen, it just takes like anything. It takes practice. Yeah. Riding a fucking bike was difficult when you first fucking did it. Yeah. But once you do it, it's a fucking second language. It's learning it all over again. That's all it is. Yeah. It's difficult at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's not. And it's intimidating because you're on road, and if you don't shift properly or do anything, you're going fucking 20 miles an hour in second gear or, first gear, and everybody else is flying by you. So it's intimidating.
It is.
But, he's like, pop the clutch, go into second, da-da-da. And then eventually, Charlie lets the colonel drive and is kind of being his eyes. And then the colonel's sitting there and is driving, and then all of a sudden he's like, something's happening to my foot. And he starts speeding in this fucking abandoned alley in New York City. Just fucking speeding down. And he's all like, I'm going to turn, Charlie. It's time to corner. Like, how are we going to do this? Left, right. Where am I going? And he goes, left! And then he turns, and the colonel was just so fucking, like, proud that he was able to turn that car and just drive. He's like, "You're driving one happy man!" Just having fucking a blast. And then he gets pulled over. And the colonel can already tell that the cop that pulls him over fucking served in something. Like, when he's like, he's just like, were you, Gore, were you in the army? And he's like, Coast Guard. And he goes, oh damn. Just kind of poking fun at him being in the Coast Guard. And then Gore even was like laughing,
I know,
I was in the Coast Guard. But still, he could tell he was a military man. Mm-hmm. Even though Gore was like, I'm Officer Gore, like I'm a cop. Like, I'm not in the military anymore. But he was like, man, I can tell you served. Like, and then Gore lets him go with a warning. They got to take the car back. And now you really, once they start walking from the dealership, you really start seeing the colonel not lose his shit, but just become
apart.
Done.
Yeah.
Become, I don't care anymore. And he starts walking into traffic as the cars are coming.
Yeah, a busy New York street.
Yeah.
Like
just walking in, and Charlie's chasing him, trying to get him. And then the colonel's just like, I gotta take a piss.
In the middle of the street.
Yeah, starts unzipping and trying to take a piss. And everybody's laughing at him and watching him. Charlie's like, are you trying to get arrested? And then they go back to the hotel, and the colonel's like, Charlie, I got a headache. I'm going to take a nap. Go get me some cigars. Charlie goes down in the lobby and then thinks for a minute. And then goes,
he doesn't even really leave the hotel.
Yeah, he literally gets to the door, thinks, and then starts to go back up. Sees the colonel in his blues, in his fine uniform. Colonel got in his old uniform.
Technical blues.
And he's like, you didn't get my cigars. You're back too early. And the colonel is going to kill himself. He's getting ready to do it. And Charlie's trying to talk him out of it, and then the colonel is all like, well, then I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because this is happening. If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill myself. Like, get out. And Charlie just won't leave. He won't give up. And probably just such a great performance by both. Like, the colonel tries to kill himself, and then Charlie starts wrestling him.
Yeah.
And then the colonel doesn't beat the shit, but he fucking wins.
Yeah.
A blind man just, over strength 17-year-old child.
Yeah, but then there's like a shift where Charlie says, all right.
Just kill me. Do it.
Right.
You're
done.
I'm done. My life's over. I'm getting kicked out of school, and there's nothing for me. Just do it. Kill me, you blind son of a bitch. And the colonel just, get out of here! Like, he just wants him to leave. Because he doesn't want to kill him. He does not want to kill her. Like that, and that's what he says. And he says, I don't know if I want to kill you or adopt you.
Yeah.
He was like, do you want me to adopt you, Charlie? Do you want me to adopt you? Like, the colonel found this fucking love for Charlie. Like,
yeah, and it kind of sounded like when he asked that, it was say yes, and then maybe I won't.
And maybe I won't do it. If you want me to adopt you, then I won't kill myself. Because I'll have something to live for. I'll be teaching you.
Yeah.
I'll be, And that's what he's doing the whole movie. He's teaching Charlie. He's fucking letting him grow up, be a man. He's, he's teaching him about women, about everything. Yeah, and obviously Charlie's a virgin.
Yeah, and we learn about Charlie and his father.
His stepfather. He doesn't even have a father. His father left.
Yeah, he's never had a father
and
figure.
His stepfather is
an asshole.
He doesn't really care about Charlie. So, and his mom just, they run a grocery store. In the Oregon burbs, and so the colonel just finds this fascination for Charlie. Doesn't want to kill him, and then they have that moment. And the one of many again, but god damn it, does this line hit home for probably everybody. The colonel is fucking around with Charlie, they're fighting, and then he just says,
I'm in the dark here! You understand? I'm in the dark!
He screams that shit, and it's like, boy, not only are you blind and in the dark, but he's emotionally in the dark. Like, he's falling a fucking apart. Like, he just can't take it. And how many of us in life have felt that? Like, probably all of us. If not, then God love you, because all of us have been there. But he just says that, and Charlie's just like, it's like the tango, Colonel. You get tangled up, you just tango on. That's life. You get tangled up, you just tango on. And then he's just like, you asking me to dance, Charlie? And the Colonel starts coming back. He starts coming out of it. And finally, Charlie talks him out of it. Charlie, and man, fucking O'Donnell. It's just tears in that moment. And they both are, and I'm just... It's such a powerful fucking scene. Such a powerful scene. So good. And then he calms him down, and finally Manny calls up and says, Charlie, you missed your plane. Charlie's like, we just missed our plane, Colonel. Colonel's like, my ticket was one way, Charlie, you missed your plane. So they pay Manny to take them all the way back to, I don't know
New
where
England?
I don't know where they were, maybe. I can't remember.
I believe I heard New England.
Maybe. I can't remember where they were, where the Baird school is. But they take them back to Baird, and then the colonel's like, all right, well, I'm going to go back home. Charlie, good luck on your disciplinary committee.
Yeah, because he has to go to this meeting with the whole faculty in school.
They're all going to shun Charlie and expel him.
Yeah.
So Charlie goes in, he's facing the music, and then the colonel shows up. Manny's walking the colonel down. Mm-hmm. Manny's like, come get him. This ain't me, I'm just a driver, come get him.
Yeah.
Charlie goes, gets the colonel. Manny sits down in the audience. And then Charlie brings the colonel up, and I failed to bring him up, but James Reborn, he's the dean, Mr. Trask, James Reborn. Another really good actor. So he is like, Mr. Sims, who is this? Like, why did you just bring this man out of nowhere? He's like, I'm a friend of Charlie's parents. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Slade. Oh, well, glad to have you, Colonel. So George, who, through the movie, is just not afraid of this shit. But when, and I missed this again, but when the Colonel was talking to Charlie about George, the Colonel was like, George is going to sing.
Yeah.
Like, Charlie, you might as well say something because George is going to do it. And then you're going to be fucked. There's people that face the music. There's people that run for cover. Cover's better.
Yeah.
Run for cover. Like, save your ass. Charlie doesn't. His dignity is just saying, I'm not going to tell on these guys because it's not me. Mm-hmm. So George sings. George is like, yeah, it was them. And he's like their best friend.
Yeah.
These three guys.
And Charlie isn't really friends with these guys.
He doesn't know any of them.
Yeah.
He just knows of them.
Yeah.
They're just acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
Like most. His acquaintance. And, George is sitting there, like, spilling the beans, and Charlie still will not say anything, even though George already did.
Yeah.
Charlie's still sitting there, I can't tell you who it is. And, of course, the three guys that did it are like, okay, Charlie's pretty fucking cool. But then the Colonel, God fucking love him. Mm. The dean is like, well, Mr. Sims, if you're not going to speak, then you're getting expelled. I'm sorry. You're a liar. Da-da-da-da-da. And then Pacino's like, but he's not a snitch! He's like, thing about you teachers at Baird, like, you want these boys, you tell them that life is this and that. I served with boys and commanded boys younger than these that went out and saw their friends losing limbs, dying, and still carried on, and you are making these boys, pretty much, you're teaching them to kiss ass.
Yeah.
And you're teaching them to not live their own lives. That's what you're doing here. Again, another really powerful moment, like just that speech, him saying, boys younger than this can go and fucking serve in the military, get killed, and here you're babying these boys, wanting them to do something because you're going to punish someone with no money who has more dignity and is able to, and doesn't want to turn in fellow classmates, fellow students.
Yeah, and he's the one
falling on his own sword for these boys he barely knows.
Yeah, he's the one student that has the most to lose out of everyone, and he's not snitching. Like, how could you not respect that?
Exactly, and that's what the Colonel's saying. And it's just like, fucking Baird School, you boy, the Baird School, just all that shit. So eventually, through all of that, the committee finally talks, and they're like, we've discussed, Charlie's off the hook, the other three boys are getting disciplined along with George, Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's getting disciplined, and he ratted him out. Mm-hmm. Charlie's off the hook because Charlie didn't say anything, and the disciplinary committee against the dean found that more honorable. Mm-hmm. Like, hello, you've got two students, by the looks of it, who were in the disciplinary committee, as long as, like, 4 teachers or whatever.
Yeah.
So, at the end, one of Charlie's teachers, the woman from American Horror Story.
Yeah, 6 Feet Under.
Frances
Conroy.
Yeah.
God, yeah, duh.
So she is Miss Downs, and I think a history teacher or something.
Yeah.
So Charlie is pretty much setting her and the Colonel up. It's like, yeah, he was on Lyndon B. Johnson's staff. And she's like, oh, Lyndon B. Johnson's staff. And Colonel is just doing his shit and tries to set him up. Charlie rides with Manny and the Colonel back to Colonel's house. Colonel gets out and he's all like, Charlie, keep in touch. Let's try to, keep together. And another thing that I kind of passed over in the beginning of the film with the kids and his niece. He hates his niece's children. Like, he can't stand them. And he gets up and the kids are playing in the driveway and he goes up there and he's like, oh, is that little George? Or whoever up there, whatever their names were. And he starts, in the time we all made up, like, help me out here, George. Come on, all that shit. He starts playing with these kids.
Yeah.
He's like, and it's just, and there you can see Charlie changed him. Charlie made him see the light in life again and took him out of the dark. Like, and that's just a beautiful fucking film.
They both taught each other a lot that they needed to survive.
Exactly. And that's why, as a younger man and as an adult now, I relate with both.
Yeah.
I relate with both characters. And that's why I love watching this, especially when I am, like, if I, as a person, am feeling depressed, I watch this movie just to remind myself, like, there can always be a change. There's always better.
Yeah, we all need that.
And we're not the only ones suffering, because all of us are suffering in life. Everyone is suffering.
Yes.
And all we can do as humans and as people is just reach out and help each other.
Yes.
That's all we can do.
Help people.
Yeah. So that about covers that up. And I know that was a tough one, especially for me. That was a lot more heavy. I was a little bit more serious this round, which...
You're allowed.
Yeah, I know. I love this movie. So now it comes to the question, would you watch this movie without?
Can I give it a soft yes?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't... Like, I feel like I would. I would probably really, I guess, either need to be in the mood for it, or... I think it just depends on the situation. But I think this would be, out of so far what we've watched, this would be one that I would consider to watch on my own.
Yeah. Well, good. Finally got one.
We got there. I thought it was going to take like 20 episodes.
So I got one. But yeah, this is just a great film, and if any of you listening have never seen it, I highly suggest you guys give this a watch.
Yeah, didn't mean to spoil it, but... And
if you haven't watched it, and obviously, we're a little past that, but you all know, if you're listening, we do spoilers, we talk about the film, so I hope you guys do listen, or watch the movie before you listen, but that's that. So, again, thank you everybody for listening and spending the time with us today. We'll be back next week with what is your pick?
Well, I've been looking back at all my picks, and they've all been pretty heavy. Mm-hmm. So I really want to kind of liven it up a little bit. Yeah. And I had a pick that I was really, really set on, but then you kind of dropped a bomb on me that had me shooketh.
Oh? What did I shaketh?
You told me that you've never seen the original Bring It On.
Fuck me.
And I'm offended.
God damn it.
Like, you have offended.
I'm sorry.
This lady.
Yeah?
Before you.
Good.
So,
be offended.
Now.
Son of a bitch.
Now we're gonna watch it. I just found this out, like, 2 days ago. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
We are really livening things up with Bring It On.
Yay. Let's watch Bring It On.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's next week.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
So everybody, yeah, me too. So everybody, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Yes, please write a review, subscribe, let us know how we're doing. We're all over social media, Movies in Contemplation, with Jarokk and Callie.
Yeah. Come find us, give us a like, give us a subscribe. As she said, reviews are great, guys. Please let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, it really helps us out.
Yeah, please. And we want to know about you guys. Like, we want to start doing where you guys give us movies.
Yes,
because there are movies that you guys have seen, obviously, that we have not seen. So we will start doing that.
Yes, we have gotten a couple suggestions already, and they've already been movies that neither of us have seen. Yeah. So that's exciting.
So we'll probably do that after my next pick.
Yeah.
From this following. So we'll probably pick a listener's request. So please, guys, give us your requests. Let us know. We'll probably do that once a month. All right. Well, it's about time, gang. So I want to thank you all again, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.